Warning: the fiction read in this video contains depictions of violence, graphic sexual violence, and profanity. This video is not appropriate for children under 18. This is an 18 and over panel. Viewer discretion is advised.
There's 2 outlets. Alright. I know, kids are allowed to anything like the extra challenge. Rolling. Why are we Smile, you're on candy camera because honey, we met credit card. This is what he does.
Hey, as long as I get some of that it's efficient commercialization money, I'm good.
Yeah, about that.
Make us laugh.
Oh, it is only slightly my job to make you laugh.
It's true.
Yeah, the rest of it. Make me laugh.
Are you laughing at yourself?
Yes. Yes. Bring me the one that killed. He abuses me. Put one of the front row. Seize him!
Welcome, of course, to the Eye of Argon. For those of you who are not familiar, in the 70s, 17-year-old Jim Thice, I used the phrase published, but it was a fanzine in the 70s, so we were talking maybe like a photocopier was involved. It's not a mimeograph machine. But published in the fanzine OS Fan, what is regarded as one of the worst pieces of fantasy fiction ever written. It's been a tradition in science fiction conventions for decades to hold what is basically a laugh your booze competition. The rules are very simple, which is basically rely on the audience to help you with the judging. But at a volunteer's pace, whoever wishes to compete or wishes to participate, come and basically begin to read from whatever point we've last stopped at. The rules are very simple. If you break, hesitate, or laugh, you're done. Next person. If you pronounce a word wrong, or more importantly, if you pronounce a word right, then we will, in fact, be moving to the next person. It's very important to note that your brain will autocorrect. You can't try to read words properly that are not spelled properly, that are not grammatically correct. We would like you to go ahead and try to actually make those mistakes.
Yes.
And some of the fun ones are you'll get 5, 6, 7 pages in a row. You'll get on a good run. One person will knock out an entire chapter and a half, and then a sentence will take out 6 people.
Yeah. It's true.
Unfortunately, the gentleman who normally runs this, normally I'm just up here as a judge, the gentleman who normally runs this had the foresight to be in California at Disneyland, and I will curse his name for many years to come. At the end of the night, we are basically when we're at a camera shoot where we hit about midnight. And it might take that long. But when we get to that point of the night, they will also be voting to go who was our best reader. It was uninterrupted, it was most interesting to listen to. And they will win the coveted Golden Rigner Award. And that is the only basic correction I will give you is the fact that it is pronounced Grigner, and that is the accepted pronunciation for the name, but it is not an easy one to go. So I will go ahead and start us off. I'm not going all the way through it, but we'll see how far I get, and then we'll pass off on a volunteer basis. Once we've kind of made our way through everybody, we'll come back and start with the people again. The Eye of Argon by Jim Thice. The weather-beaten trail wound ahead into the dust-wrapped climes of the barren land, large portions of the Mongolian Empire. Age-worn hoofprints, smothered by the sifting sands of time, shone dully against the dust splattered across the earth. The tireless sun cast its scorching rays of incandescence from overhead. Halfway through its daily revolution, small rodents scampered about, occupying themselves in the daily accomplishments of their dismal lives. Dust sprayed over 3 heaving mounts in blinding clouds, while they bore the burdensome cargoes of their struggling overseers. Prepare to embrace your creators in the Stygian haunts of hell, barbarian, gasped the first soldier. Very important, nobody says anything. Everybody gasps, curses, grunts, growls, but nobody says. Only after you have kissed the fleeting stead of death, wretch, returned Grigner. A sweeping blade of flashing steel riveted from the massive barbarian's high enameled shield, as his rippling right arm thrust forth, sending a steel-shod blade to the hilt into the soldier's vital organs. The disemboweled mercenary crumpled from his saddle and sank to the clouded sward, sprinkling the parched dust with crimson droplets of escaping life fluid.
Well, here's the problem.
Wow.
Okay.
The enthused barbarian swivel about, his shock of fiery red hair tossing robustly in the humid air currents as he faced the attack of the defeated soldier's fellow arms. Damn you, barbarian, shrieked the soldier as he observed his comrade in death. We would like to take it from here. Move this down a little bit and start with you.
Go, son. Go, son.
Literally start from there
Okay.
and go ahead with a gleaming scimitar.
I have a bit of a lift, so I got the gleaming scimitar smote a heavy blow against the renegade's spiked helmet, breaking a heavy cloud over the accordion's listening brain. Shooting off the effects of the coming blow to its head, raining ball brought down its solid street edge against the soldier's crudely forged upper. Randomly on the left side, the soldier was standing with one foot as he directly forced back to the driving blade of the barbarian. Critical reached his mouth forward as the obscene piercing battle cry railroad red race rebounded from his blinding
I'm
blow.
going to stop you there. As many misspells as there are, you can actually spell resounded correctly. Make sure it goes.
That's exhausting. Oh, my mouth doesn't look like
Forward, as the hoarsely piercing battle cry of his wilderness bred race resounded from his grinding lungs. A twirling blade.
Okay, a twirling blade bounced harmlessly from the lighting thief's buckler as his rolling right arm cleft upward, sending a foot of blinding steel ripping through the Samarian's exposed gullet. A gasping gurgle from the soldier's writhing mouth as he tumbled to the golden sand at his feet and wormed agonizingly in his deathbed.
What was that doing there?
I can't see the...
Yeah.
Rickner's emerald green orbs glared lustfully at the wall of his struggling before his chestnut scroll mount. His scowling voice reverberated over the dying form in a tone of mocking mirth. You city-bred dogs should learn not to antagonize your better. Reining his weary mount ahead, Rickner resumed his journey to the Mongolian city of Gorzan, hoping to discover wine, women, and adventure to boil the wild blood coursing through his savage veins. The trek to Gorzan was forced upon Grigner when the soldiers of Kryn were leashed upon him by a faithless concubine he had wooed. His scandalous activities throughout the Cimmerian city had unleashed groans of havoc and uproar among his refined patricians, leading them to tack a heavy reward over his head. He had barely managed to escape through the back entrance of the inn he had been guzzling in, as a squad of soldiers pounced upon him. As spilling a spout of blood from the leader of the Arriving after dark in a words of Richter descended down a dismal alley, reining his horse before a beaten tavern. The red-haired giant strode into the dimly lit upholstery, reeking of foul odors and cheap wine. The air was heavy with chopping fumes, but spewing from smoldering torches as he paced within
added a word.
Oh, I did.
Word. We're going to start with the air was heavy, and we'll start with here.
Alright. Where are we?
The air was heavy.
The air was...
Halfway through the paragraph.
Okay, I got it. The air was heavy with choking fumes.
Nope, that's chalky.
Choking! Come on!
The air was heavy, chopping fumes. Smoldering torches encased within gleaming curtain back walls. Tables were clustered, drunken thieves and cutthroats, tossing dice or making love to killing prostitutes. A female crouched alone at a nearby torch, rocking the fence.
Nearby bench.
That's probably not going to be my advantage that I'm like almost legally blind, but...
You've also got the problem of the person who produced this. This is essentially the most faithful adaptation that somebody has produced. So they used a typewriter text, and they have faded out words where they were almost unreadable in the actual text. If you go to the beginning of it, you actually get a page-by-page guide to how to, or to what color stock you need to buy to correctly reduce the fact that the pages' colors didn't even match each other. So, from the second paragraph there, I'm
Not
choking.
Finger advanced, wishing to pull someone occupied with flickering torches. That's east for some reason.
The flickering torches cast weird shafts of luminescence dancing over the half-naked harlot of his choice. Her stringy orchid twines of hair swaying gracefully over the light opaque nose as she raised a half-drained mug to her pale red lips. Glancing upward, the alluring complexion noted the stalwart giant as he rapidly approached. A faint glimmer sparked from the pair of deep blue ovals of the amorous female as she motioned toward Rigner, enticing him to join her. The barbarian seated himself upon a stool of the wench's side, exposing his body for a loincloth, brandishing a long steel broadsword, battle helmet, and a thick leather sandals to unobstructed view.
Alright, let's roll down here.
Thou hast need to occupy your time, barbarian, questioned the female. Only if something worth offering is within my reach, stated Grignaz. His hands crept to embrace the tempting female, who welcomed them with open willingness. What? From where do you come, barbarian, and by what are you called? Gasped the complying wench. As Rigner smothered her lips with the blazing touch of his flaming weapon. The engrossed titan ignored the queer of the inquisitive female nipple. Without struggle, she gave in, winding her soft arms around the harshly bronzen hide of Grigner, corded shoulder blades as his colossed.
No, that's directly.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Alright. All the way backwards this time.
All right.
Yeah, I was like,
Start right the same way.
We go without struggle.
Without a struggle, she gave in, winding her soft arms around the harsh bronze hide of greenery corded shoulder blades as his calloused hands caressed her protruding bust.
She's got to when they told her.
Admitted Grigner as he reached for the vessel of potent wine whose charge had been quaffing.
How do you know Grigner? Grigner thinks making love is groping and kissing somebody.
Wait, it's not. What are you doing at all?
17-year-old boy right
A flying foot caught the mug Grigner had taken hold of, sending its blood-red contents sloshing over a flickering crescent, leashing tons of bright orange flame to the foot-trodden floor.
What was in that mug?
What's in that foot?
Remove yourself, Sarah. The wench belongs to me. While a drunken soldier, too far consumed by the influences of his virile brood to take note of the superior size of his adversary. Grigner lithely bounded from the startled female, his face lit up to an ashen red curiosity. And in a searing, feral blaze towards the swaying soldier. To hell with you, bragger! Spells the angered Horrian as he hefted his finely honed broadsword. The staggering soldier clumsily reached towards the pommel of his dangling sword before his hands ever touched the oaken hilt. A silver flash was slicing the heavy air. The thews of the savage's lashing white arms bulged from the glistening bronze tide as his blade hit deeply into the soldier's neck, lopping off the confused head.
That's correct. It's loping. It means to be lopping. By the way, it is now officially like 3 or 4 years since I learned that no, foos is a word. Good on you, Jim Place. I learned from you. Like muscular tissue in your biceps. Right.
Please do not.
Back go with the foos.
The thews of the savage's lashing right arm bulged from their glistening bronze thigh as it laid deeply into the soldier's neck, looping off the confused head with his senses going. With a nauseating thud, the severed as the segregated torso of Grigner's bovine antagonist swayed and collapsed in a pool of swirling.
I thought organs were eyes. We established this.
Scroll down. No, everybody has ovals like all over their body. Universe, it's like if it's vaguely circular, that's noble. That's just noble.
In the confusion, the soldiers fell confronted Grigner who unsheathed cutlasses directed towards the latter's scowling makeup. The slut should have worried more carefully toward the victor in a mocking baritone shown more prudence. However, you shall rue your actions while riding in the pits, stated one of the scrawled soldier's comrades. Scribner's hand began to remove his blade from its leather housing, but retarded the motion. The blades waved before his face. Dismiss your hand from the hilt, barbarian, or you shall find a foot of steel sheathed in your gizzard.
I scroll down here again. So you like, by the way, the nice forward thing of, I think later on we will get a moment where somebody else is called slut. Pretty much slut is almost always pregnant. Scary forward thinking.
Scribner waited his position of observing his plate, whereupon he took the soldier's advice as the only logical choice. To attempt to hack his way from his present predicament could only warrant certain death. He was of no mind to bring upon his wounded place.
That's correctly spelled demise.
Oh, okay.
Alright, we got nice.
If an alternative path presented itself, the will to necessitate his life forced him to yield to a superior force in hopes of a moment of carelessness. Later, in which he could effect now a more plausible means of escape. You may steady your arms. I will go without a struggle. Our decision is a wise one, yet perhaps you would have been better off had you forced to death. The soldier's mouth wrinkled to a sadistic grin of knowing mirth as he prodded his prisoner on with his sword.
They were just surprised.
This is serious.
Serial self-prize.
Oh, now here's another little informational thing, because we'll get to basically after the story was written, when it was put into the fanzine, they got another person to just go through. It is actually unknown whether these are meant to be part of the people in the story, whether they're connected to the story at all, or whether they're just inserted into the middle of the zine just because somebody scrawled some drawing. Like their connection to the story is as yet completely unknown.
After an indiscriminate period of marching through slinking alleyways and dim moonlighted streets, the procession confronted a massive seraglio. The palace area was surrounded by an iron grate and lush gardens on all sides. The group was admitted through the gilded gateway, and Grigner was led along halfway, bordered by lush vegetation with an eye, blissfully enhanced by the moon's shimmering rays. Upon reaching the palace, the group was granted entrance, and after several minutes of explanation, led through several winding corridors to a richly draped chamber. Confronting the group was a short, stocky man seated upon a golden throne. Tapestries of richly draped regal blue silk covered all walls of the chamber, while the steps leading to the throne were plated with sparkling white ivory. The man upon the throne had a naked wench seated at each of his arms, a trusted advisor seated in back. At each corner with upraised pikes supported in their hands, golden chainmail adorning their torsos, and barred helmets emitting scarlet plumes and shrouding heads. The man rose from his throne to the dais surrounding his plush turquoise robe dangled loosely from its chunky frame.
Dr. Strange.
I was going to say, it's an eerily
Name the merciless Trump.
He looks like Dr. Strange. He really does.
And again, it's a moment Jim decides, you know, I need some more detail in this story. Anytime there's a room that has people in it, he's going to describe the room, the people, their clothes, in intricate detail. So you're like, move on. No, seriously, move on, Jim.
There is no noun in this story that doesn't have an overly flowery adjective attached to it.
Oh yeah, especially colors.
Yeah.
Red. Like we've got turquoise, but watch turquoise.
It's called turquoise, right?
Turquoise has different spellings.
The soldiers surrounding Brigner fell to their knees with heads bowed to the stone masonry of the floor in fearful dignity to their sovereign liege. Explain the purpose of this intrusion upon my chateau. Your diurnity. We have brought this yokel before you, the soldier gestured toward Brigner.
What?
Or your all-knowing wisdom and judgment regarding this case. Down on your knees, Lau, and pay proper homage to your sovereign, commanded the pudgy Brigner. By the surly beard of Criff, Brigner yields to no man, scowled the massive barbarian. You dare to deal this blasphemous act to me? You are indeed brave, stranger, yet your valor smacks of foolishness.
By the way, I've been roped into this thing enough times. But the surly bearded riff is definitely something I say in the real world.
Is that Criff?
It's riff.
Riff.
There's some of these where I would call you on it, except I'm looking at the same screen as you, but yeah, I see that. I see why that. But it is actually an M there. There we go.
From this angle, it actually does look like a K.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when it's up the screen though. Oh, yeah, no, this is just a faded out text and reproducing the original fading text.
I find you to be the only fool sitting upon your pompous throne, enhancing the rolling flaps of your belly in the midst of your elaborate luxury. The soldier standing at Brigner's side smote him heavily in the face with the flat of the sword, cutting short the harsh words and knocking his tattered helmet to the masonry with an echoing
Echo stroking.
The paunchy nose, sagging round face, flushed suddenly pale, then hastily lit up to a lustrous cherry red radiance. His lips trembled with malicious rage while emitting a muffled, sibilant gibberish. His sagging flags rolled like a as he sucked in his gut in an attempt to conceal his softness.
The softness is real.
The prince regained the statue and spoke to the soldiers surrounding Brigner, his face conforming to an ugly expression of sadistic humor. Take this uncouth heathen to the vault of misery, and be sure that his agonies are long and drawn out before death can release him. As you wish, sire, your command shall be heeded immediately, answered the soldier on the right of Brigner, as he stared into the barbarian's seemingly unaffected face. The advisor, seated in the back of the building, slowly rose and advanced to the side of his master, motioning the wench and seated at his sides, wenches seated at his sides to remove themselves. He lowered his head and whispered to the noble, Eminence, the punishment you have decreed will cause much misery to this scum, yet it will only last a short time.
Transposed them.
Let's see, we'll go here.
Should I start from eminence?
Yeah, go ahead.
Eminence, the punishment you have decreed will cause much misery to this scum, yet it will last only a short time, and release him to a land beyond the sufferings of the human body. Why not mellow him in one of the subterranean vaults for a few I have decided to void my previous decree. The prisoner shall be removed to one of the palace's underground vaults. There he shall stay until I have decided that he has sufficiently simmered, whereupon he is to be allowed to spend the remainder of his days at labor in one of my mines.
Oil before you simmers?
Upon hearing this, Rigmer realized that his fate would be far less merciful than death to one such as he, who is used to roaming the countryside at will. A life of confinement would be more than his body and mind stand up to. This type of life would be immeasurably worse than death. I shall never understand the ways if your wasted civilization. I simply defend my honor and am condemned to life confinement by a pig who sits on his royal ass doing chores and knows nothing of the affairs of the land he imagines to rule. Edgers Grigner.
The inflection.
Political knowledge.
Wow. Good question, Jim. Good question.
Enough of this. Away with the slut before I loose my...
Oh my god, it's like my Facebook feed.
And again, second use of the word, again, it's Springer.
Seeing the peril of his position, Grigner searched for an opening. Crushing Prudence to the sward, he plowed into the soldier at his left, taking hold of his sword, and bounding to the dais, supporting the prince. Before the startled guards could regain their composure, a Gaffney leaped Grigner and his sire, but found a sword blade permeating the length of his ribs before he could loose his weapon.
Well, that's the king, all right.
That's what you have to do to get through this.
We should have read this on 420.
The counselor slumped to his knees as Grigner slid his crimson blade from a Gaffney ribcage. The fat prince stood undulating in his terrible fear. Before the edge of the fiery maned comet, his glass of jelly blubber and ripples of flowing hair.
Oh god.
Where is your wisdom and power now, your majesty, growled Grigner?
Sorry, those Majesty.
Oh. I got that one. I see.
Oh.
The prince went rigid as Grigner discerned him glazing over his shoulder. He slived. Let's go with slived. Slived to note the cause of the noble's attention.
Nice job.
Raised his sword over his head and prepared to leash a vicious downward cleft, but fell short as
You're good.
the haft of a steel-rimmed pike clashed against his unguarded side.
There, because there are two ends and rims.
Date is rhyme.
All right. See what we can do here.
But fell short. I got lost.
So, yeah, what fell short?
Which one?
But fell short as the haft of a steel riding pike flashed against his unguarded skull, when blackness was on. Silence was shrouding, and ever peaceful breeze.
Green. Loves that stitching.
Best we've got. Also note, for those of you keeping track, we are on chapter 3. I don't know how it's decided. It will be like a 7.5 at some point.
You gotta love hypothesizing. He's a scientist.
starvation, though as he stuffed it into his mouth with his filthy fingers and
That's suckered.
Suckered.
Nope. Thank you very much. Next up.
All right, Joel.
He's cruel. He has already. All right, numerous schemes.
I will too.
Numerous schemes are introduced when
Ultimately discarded in turn as they occur. Suckered.
Yep.
To unravel to him no means of escape which stood the slightest chance of success. Anguish continues to mount as his means of occupation rapidly exhausted. Suddenly, without the known hit, he wakes routed from his contemplation as he detected a faint scratching sound at the end of the crypt obstacle. The sound seemed to be caused by something trying to strip away the granite blocks the floor.
That's granite
tight. That's granite height. Again, the longer you go, the more your own eyes will correct. Okay, great. Yep. The wizard in the back. Granite. I'll take it from the sound here.
Okay. The sound seemed to have been The sound seems to be caused by something trying to scrape away at the ground floor from the enclosure consists of sandy scratching of something like an animal's claws. Rigner gradually broke his way to the other end of the wolf, carefully feeling his way along his hands ahead of him. In a few inches of the wall, a loud, penetrating squeal, then stamping of small padded feet. Barefooted, no meat.
Yeah, you got it.
We're good?
Yeah, it's reverberated. You're good.
From the walls of roughly hewn chamber, Rickner took his hands up to show his face and flung himself backwards upon the box. Burning its talons in his flesh, while gnawing towards his throat with a
Alright. Alright, so we'll go backwards. We'll start with Judah there. Unless anybody who hasn't read wants to read there. You are a fuzzy form bounded. I'll go ahead and scroll that down to no, it's the end of the page. It doesn't matter. There you are.
Fuzzy form mounted to his hairy chest, burying its talons in his flesh while gnashing toward his throat, grinding white teeth and sour, fetid breath, scorching, squirming barbarians, dilating his nostrils. Rigner grappled with the lashing flexor muscles of the repugnant body, the ground, striving to hold his razor teeth from his juicy injected gray organs of light blaze into the flaring emeralds of his prey.
He said the word eyes twice.
Right.
Eyes look into his eyes. Organs of sight, flaring emeralds.
Taking hold of the rodent around his lean, grunting stomach with both hands, Rigner pried it from his crimson-rent breast, removing small patches of flayed flesh from his chest in a motion between his squalid black claws starting his. Holding the rodent at arm's length, he cupped his right hand over his frothing face, concentrating his fingers into a vice-like fist over the quivering head. Retaining his grips on the rat, Rigner flexed his outstretched arms while slowly twisting his right hand clockwise and his left hand counterclockwise.
which, sorry, I have to...
So we are at, let me scroll this down a little bit and go with, you should start with a loud crack.
Excuse me, son here. Oh, I'm sorry. It's all right. With a loud crack, the rodent's head parted from its squirming torso, sending out a sprinkling shower of sprinkling.
There's no L. Let's see. Go ahead.
Can't say I didn't try.
Again, you can find time where it's like 5, 6, 7 people in the same sentence.
With a loud crack, the rodent's head parted from its squirming torso, sending out a sprinkling shower of crimson gore and trilling a slimy string to disjointed vertebrae, snapped trachea, esophagus, and jugular disjointed hyoid bone, rose purple stretched hide and blood-seared muscles.
Again, it's another moment where we looked it up, Jitvice is right, it's the hyoid bone, it's like right in here, and it's way too much freaking knowledge about the anatomy of a rat.
Flinging the broken body to the floor, Rigner shook his blood-streaked hands and wiped them against his thigh until dry. Then wiped the blood that had showered his face and from his eyes. Again sitting himself upon the jagged floor, he prepared to once more revamp his glum meditations.
I'm surprised he's not that right.
He told himself that as long as he still breathed the gust of life through his lungs, hope was not lost. He told himself this, but found it hard to comprehend in his gloomy surroundings. Yet he was still alive, his bulging sinews at their peak of marvel, his struggling mind floating in a spiral of impressed excellence of thought. Plot after plot sifted through his mind in energetic contemplations.
Is in the pit, a giant rat has burst through the wall, he kills us like, well, back to my sitting.
He's not done with the rats.
Come on.
Then it hit him. Minutes may have passed in silent thought or days. He could not tell, but he stumbled at last upon a plan that he considered as holding a slight margin of plausibility. He might die in the attempt, but he knew he would not submit without a final bloody struggle. It was not a foolproof plan, yet it built up a store of renewed vortex energy in his overwrought soul. Though he might perish in the execution of the escape, he would still be escaping the life of infinite torture in store for him.
That's one word.
Either way, he would still cheat the gloating prince of the secured revenge in his sadistic mind craved so dearly.
I love that both of you wood stills are being returned
After, yeah. Like a sucker.
What does that even mean?
Like, sucker is, you know,
You ever play Assassin's Creed?
yeah,
Like sugar.
yeah.
The guards would soon come to bear him off of the prince's buried mines of dread, giving him the sought-after opportunity to execute his newly formulated plan. Groping his way along the rough floor, Rimner finally found his tool in a pool of congealed gore. The carcass of the decapitated rodent, the tool that the very filth he had been sentenced to spawn. When the time came for action, he would have to be prepared, so he set himself to rendering the sticky hulk in grim silence.
Stop you. That's day rending. We'll start that once again.
When the time came for action, he would have to be prepared, so he set himself to rending the sticky hulk in grim silence, searching by the touch of his fingertips for the lever to freedom.
Lights.
Up to the altar and be done with it, wench, ordered the fidgeting shaman as he gave the female a grim stare accompanied by the wrinkling of his lips to a mirthful grin of delight. The girl burst into a slow, steady whimper, stooping shakily to her knees and cringing woefully from the priest, with both arms wound snake-like around the bulging jade shin. Rising before her scantily attired figure. Her face was readily inflamed from the salty flow of tears spouting from her glassy, dilated eyeballs.
Big moment. Said I.
With short, heavy footfalls, the priest approached the female, his piercing stare never wavering from her quivering young countenance. Halting before the terrified girl, he projected his arm outward and motioned her to arise with an upward movement of his hand. The girl's whimpering increased slightly, and she sunk closer to the floor rather than arising. The flickering torches outlined her trim build with a weird ornate glow as it cast a ghostly shadow, dancing in hard waves of splendor over smoothly worn whiteness of marble hue.
Prepositions watching.
The shaman's lips curled back farther, exposing a set of blackened, decaying molars which transformed his slovenly grin into a wide, greasy arc of sadistic growth, and ultimately interposed into the female a strong sensation of stomach-curdling nausea. Have it as you will, female, for the enhanced projecting his ape-like arms forward and clasped the female's slender arms with his hairy round fist. His biceps harshly jerked the
I'm going to
trembling
stop you there. It's oh. Stream over here.
Alright, where do we start?
Let's see. I'm going to scroll us down a little bit.
Yes.
Start here.
An inward surge of his biceps, partially
Again.
Spring King.
What could that
The trembling girl to her feet and smothered her salty wet cheeks with the moldy touch of his decrepit, dull red lips. The vile stench of the shaman's hot-headed breath overcame the nauseated female with a deep soul-searching, searing sickness, causing her to wrench her head backwards and regurgitate a slimy orange-white stream.
Eyeballs. This is the first moment he says eyes.
It's a start.
Desperately outward with the strength of a demon possessed, lodging her. That sandal foot squarely between the shaman's his crushing grip. Gripping his body over at the waist, overlooking his recessed belly, wide open in a deep chasm. His
chasm.
Flushed to a rose-red shade of crimson, eyelids fluttering wide with eyeballs protruding blindly outward from their sockets to their outmost perimeters, while his lips quivered wildly about allowing an agonized wallow to gust forth as his breath billowed from burning lungs. His hands reached out, clutching his urinary gland. Berkshire shaman to collapse in an egg-covered mass. Granite pavement, rolling helplessly about in his agony.
So he just started She popped one. Three paragraphs.
What did he say? Groveling in dejected misery upon that glazed pavement, worn smooth by countless hours of arduous sweat and toil, a welter of ichor oozing from his clenched hands, attracting the perturbed attention of his comrades from their photiated relations. The actions of this word of sacrilege. Never before in a lost maze of untold eons had a chosen one dared double space to demonstrate
Good job.
deity. The girl cowered in unreasoning terror, helpless in the face of the emblazoned acolyte's rage. Her orchid
thought we was going to add tolerance to this.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you there. You accidentally a word.
What?
You stand over the word feet braced. Alright, let's see.
Wait, do they actually use the word dank in there? Hand over hand, that's not capitalized.
Hand over hand, feet braced against the dank walls of the huge river. Descending from the boulder
Huge river.
the forward vest. His swelled limbs, stiff, bordered on timeless inactivity, counted by the muscly
Sure.
and Jackie's granite protruberant, his body, great traction. The opportunity now presented itself, served the purpose of coiling the rusty joints and holding his stilts.
Oil can. Oil can.
He braced himself, facing the second soldier. The sentry's stature was wildly exaggerated and glared on flickering crescent colors. His right face.
Yep. So we're going to have.
Was. There's two was.
There's
two was. Century and century was wild.
The century stature was wild. His eyes were wide open, with slightly slanted owlish blades. By the hole-filled curve, his nose and tail, yellow of his cheeks. Place your hands behind your back, said the second soldier, as he raised his axe over his right shoulder blade and cast it away from his. We must bind your wrists to parry any attempts at escape. Really? Yes. Be sure to make the knot stout. Boy, we wouldn't want our guests to take leave of your backwards. Roy grasped Raven's left hand and reached for the barbarian's.
Sorry, that was left wrist, not hand.
I really want to reach through
David Roy Grass.
What's his name? Now I get it.
Boy grasped
One
Graceful's
sentence ago.
left wrist and reached for the Ringo wedged his right arm free and
What?
reached his right hand holding the centuries backwards.
So why not?
Sweet daggers before he showed his intentions as Ringo's right arm swept to his gorge. The soldier let live, his bobbing eyes rolling beneath fluttering eyelids, and he wealth across his fountain head. Without lingering to absorb and exalt his efforts, Ringo dropped to his knees. The second soldier was axed to his left.
Yep, that's the
Left over Campbell's elbow and a blaze of silver.
Every time.
Raise my eyes.
Those looks. Oh my gosh.
Is this script of the beam?
Liz. Okay.
Do it! Just do it! Okay, jump out. No, that's 2016.
Second soldier's axe cleft over Greenear's head in a bliss of silver ferocity, separating several scarlet locks from his scalp. Coming to rest in his fellow's stomach, the iron head crashed through the mail and flesh was splintering, force, spilling a pool of crimson entrails over the granite paving.
I'm sorry, Brody.
Whoa!
We literally learned his name at the end of the previous paragraph, and he did not survive the next paragraph.
Dominant importance began.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Before the sentry could wrench, wow, that spelled right, his axe free from his comrade's carcass, he found Greenear's massive hands clasped about his throat, choking the life from his glam lungs. How did I start talking like this?
I don't know.
With a zealous grunt that accordion flexed his tightly corded biceps, forcing the grin-faced soldier to one knee.
Mr. Sandy?
Yes. The sentry plunged his right fist into Greenear's face, digging his gritty nails into the barbarian's flesh, ejaculating the curse through rasping teeth. Greenear surged the bulk of his weight forward, following the besieged soldier upon his back. The sentry's arms collapsed to his thighs, shuddering convulsively. His bulging eyes staring blindly from a bloated cherry red face. Rising to his feet, Greenear shook the blood from his eyes, ruffling his surely red mane as a brush fire swaying to the nighttime breeze. Stooping over the sprawled first soldier, Greenear retrieved a small white object from a pool of congealing gore. Snorting a gutsy billow of mirth, he once more concealed the tiny object beneath his loincloth. That's unfortunate. The tediously hung pelvis bone of the broken rodent his attention toward the second soldier. Greenear turned to the task of attiring his limbs.
He's getting dressed.
Okay, there we go. To move about freely through the dim recesses of the castle would require grotesque garb of its soldiery.
Yes, it's very important to note that that entire exchange really depended upon the fact that he stole the pelvis and sharpened it slightly. No clue if that's the rodent.
I think that's the rodent.
I think that is the
It
rodent.
looks like Falcon's son you didn't want.
It always seems like it goes with it, but like there are researchers who put time into trying to find this. It took them a while. They got like one interview with Jim Theis total, and they cannot figure out.
He doesn't even know.
He Yeah, you're thinking that the first guy, you know, Cumberbatch seems trained his magic, but then you get into it, you're like, maybe not, who knows?
Alright, here we go. Utilizing the silence itself, acquired in the untamed lines of his childhood, Greenear slink through twisting corridors and winding stairways, lighting his way in the confiscated torch of his dispatch.
And stop right there, that is sophisticated.
Alright. Start at the beginning there?
Yes, please.
Okay. Utilizing the silence and stealth acquired the seat in the untamed climes of his childhood, Greenear slink through twisting corridors and winding stairways, lighting his way with the confiscated torch.
Same accent too.
Of his dispatch got him. Knowing where his steps were leading to, Greenear meandered aimlessly in search of an exit from the chateau's dim confines.
That was a seraglio.
The wild blood coursing through his veins yearned for the undefiled freedom of the living wilderness land. Yeah. And coming upon a fork in the passage, he shrieked. Assuming it was supposed to be tracked. Voices accompanied by clinking footfalls discerned to his sensitive ears from the left corridor. Wishing to avoid contact, Greenear veered to the right passageway. A question as to the purpose of his presence. His barbarous accent would reveal his identity, being that his attire was not that of the castle's mercenary troops. Jesus Christ. In grim silence,
I wish.
Greenear treaded down the dingly lit corridor.
Dingly!
A stalking panther creeping warily along on padded feet. After an interminable, interminable period of wandering through the dull corridors, no gaps to break the monotony of cold gray walls. Greenear espied a small winding stairway, descending the flight of arced granite slabs to their posterior. Greenear was confronted by a short hallway leading to a tall arched wooden doorway. Halting before the teeming portal. Before the teeming portal. Greenear resties. His shaggy head sideways against the barrier. Detecting no sounds from within, he grasped the looped metal handle of the door, his arms surging with a tremendous effort of bulging muscles, yet the door would not budge. Retrieving his axe, I wish you could pick one way to spell axe to be done.
Yeah, right.
I wish you could pick one way to spell a lot of words.
From where he had sheathed it beneath his girdle, he hefted it in his mighty hand within a piece in front, and wedging one of its blackened edges into the crack between the portal. Where's that line come from?
Oh, that's I'm asking.
Oh, okay. Even better. Trees a portal and it's iron. I'm not falling for this one again. Rhymed. Last free. Bracing his sandaled right foot against the ruggedly hewn wall, teeth tightly clenched. Grigor apple lever. The oaken hafts, employing it as a lever whereby to pry open the barrier. The leather-wound hilt bending to its utmost limits of endurance. The massive portal swung open with a grating of snap, latch, and rusty iron hinges.
By the way,
yeah, you put a portal
we
twice.
used door once, but we used portal. We used portal not like 4 times, but like 5 because we said portal.
Okay. All right then. Glancing about the dusk-swirled room in the gloomily dancing glare of his flickering, I guess we'll just press it. Grigor eyed evidences of the enclosure being nothing more than a forgotten storeroom. Miscellaneous articles. Oh, he spelled miscellaneous.
I think when you looked it up, it spelled accolade right.
Why is it miscellaneous articles required for the maintenance of a castle were piled in disorganized heaps at, he spelled infrequent right too, intervals toward the walls opposite to the barbarian's piercing stare.
Yeah, he added the word to. Opposite the barbarian's piercing stare. Alright.
It was a good try.
That
That was a good try.
Okay.
12 minutes.
let's see, where are we here? So, yeah, we're like miscellaneous articles. Yeah, miscellaneous is spelled right.
I can't even spell that. Miscellaneous articles required for the maintenance of the castle were piled in disorganized heaps at infrequent intervals through the wall opposite the barbarian utilizing long, bounding strides, frequent pieces of way to the bountiful supplies to discover if any articles of value were contained within the list. Detecting a faint squeak sound again. Just so you know, this is happening how many times a week?
A lot of them.
Numerous things.
One of my buddies is
Broad to his left side with the speed of the striking forward, landing harshly upon his back. Torch and axe loudly clattering to the floor in a
Morass.
and own loaded board leaped from the collapsed flooring, flashing against the jagged flooring and spewing a shower of orange and yellow sparks over Grigor's startled face. Rising uneasily to his feet, the half-stunned accordion glared down at the prison arm of death he had unwittingly sprung. If not for his keen auditory organs and lightning steel reflexes, Grigor would have been groping through the shadows of the grim river. He had unknowingly stumbled upon an ancient, long-forgotten movie trap, a mistake which would have spared him the perusal of longevity of one less outback. Similar in type to that of a miniature castle was concealed beneath two flags.
If anyone was thinking about going to that one panel take pics, the line's already all the way down that hall.
They're not finished. Yeah, they're not finished.
Yeah, it starts at midnight, and it is already down that hall. No one knows what it is. I'm sad. You have no idea what's going on in that panel.
Charles Dunbar's dick pics. In the book.
Oh, it's actually Dunbar?
Yeah. I think it is.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He's gonna hold the phone to projectors with pictures of the dick.
That's my assumption. You're gonna get there and talk to the studio. But anyway.
Hey, I'm easy. Joel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Exciting time though. How many pictures left?
especially since it's unset. I'm going to give it to Pikachu here.
She got way farther than
There
me.
it is.
All I remember
The
accents.
award for Zenkaikon 2017 is presented for literature. I recommend looking it up, but quite frankly, halfway through the damn story. Realize how much more of this can there be? Too much.